want to ask you a question. How many times have you been hungry? I mean, really, really hungry. So hungry you wanted to cry. Or maybe you had no idea where your next meal would come from. And I'm not talking about, oh, my stomach is growling kind of hungry, but hungry, really hungry. Well, for some of you, this hits home. You've either had those hunger feelings yourself, or maybe you know someone who has. Well, because of the increase in Floridians who are desperately hungry right now, two separate groups here in Central Florida are coming together to help. In this next half hour, we'll show you how an Orlando food bank is extending its incredibly successful mission here in Tampa Bay. Plus, an exclusive with a man who's helping change the staggering statistics of hunger. Because these are our issues, Tampa Bay. Welcome to our Issues Tampa Bay. I'm your host, Jen Holloway. An Orlando food bank is making such a dramatic positive impact on its community that we will soon see the same concept right here in the Tampa Bay community. Dave Krepko is from the Second Harvest Food Bank of Central Florida and joins us now with more. Dave, thanks for being here.
You're welcome. It's good to be here.
How serious is hunger here in Florida?
It's a huge issue. Just think about kids and circumstances beyond their control. About 1 in 4 kids are hungry in the state of Florida, and in some areas it's about 1 in 3. I mean, that's just something that's just totally unacceptable. And then you have senior citizens, in their so-called golden years that are hungry, and lots of working families, underemployed people, working full-time trying to make ends meet. So in the state alone, there are about 3.5 million people on food stamps.
3.5 million. Yeah. And what is our total population of the state?
I think it's about 17 to 19 million people.
It's a lot of people.
It's a high percentage, and it's primarily a cause of where the economy is. And
you think of 1 in 4. Just think about your own neighborhood or your apartment building. 1 of 4 people are, and I learned a new term, food insecure. Food insecure,
people don't know where that next meal is coming from. And they may have to get it from an emergency food pantry, or they may end up in a shelter to get that, or a soup kitchen, that kind of thing. But with the recession and the economy still not totally recovered, so many people either have a family member, a neighbor, somebody they know, or a colleague that's been downsized, or the hours cut back, or they've just lost their jobs and they're looking to get reemployed.
Well, Second Harvest is making a dramatic change with those numbers. What was it, 2 years ago you started a whole new program to build a new distribution center?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
So now, looking back, that was a huge project that you undertook. How has it been, and where is the project now?
Well, it's been a dream come true, really, and it's the Morgan & Morgan Hunger Relief Center. But with just incredible community support. But we had a vision just before the recession hit that we needed to increase our capacity to serve more people and to close that gap between who has food and who does not. And did a lot of due diligence and planning, and then we went out to the community to say, please, help support this vision for the future, because we'll be able to provide much more food to people for years to come, and the kinds of calories that we provide. So a lot more fresh fruits and vegetables, that kind of thing.
So you're not just handing out bread and oatmeal and pasta. You're concerned.
It's healthy food.
Yes.
It's primarily it's healthy food. And the great thing is people want more of it, but it's expensive to eat healthy. But this facility is complete. We've been in it for 6 months now, and it's operating at a level, beyond our expectations, engaging more of the public into the cause, many more volunteers coming. We're on track for the first year to have just over 50,000 volunteer hours, which is fabulous. That's 50,000 hours I don't have on my payroll.
Wow.
So
people and 100,000 hands helping where you didn't have.
That's really good math. That is a lot of hands.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So you have been incredibly successful, and I would say, biggest projects that you've completed has been the distribution warehouse and storage area.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't realize when I started researching for the show that storage is one of your biggest problems.
Yeah, you have to have the capacity to bring
Right.
the food in. And when you think about, over the course of a year, we'll receive and distribute about 40 million pounds of food. And that's equivalent to about 25 million meals. So you have to have a distribution center that's set up to accept that. You have to have huge coolers and freezers, and an entire system to really move that food.
And you are so dedicated and precise at what you do. Your drivers, or even specifically trained. Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah. We have 19 trucks on the road full-time, refrigerated. And we go after prepared foods that have not been served from resorts and Darden restaurants and independent restaurants. But they go to the restaurants and they're trained in safe food handling. Mm-hmm. Food safety is just #1 in the food industry. It's so critical. And it provides a higher dignity level to our service and better quality of the food. Sure. And that food then is just delivered directly to our partner agencies. So our 19 truck drivers out there are not only trained in food safety, but they're ambassadors for the organization. They certainly are. They develop those relationships with the restaurants.
I think just knowing what I've researched about you guys, I think that's one of the things that has made you so successful as a food bank, is that you've gone down to even the finite details of training those drivers and handling food properly and safely, because you certainly don't want to distribute food that is not safe.
Exactly. And our food donors, they trust us to do the right thing. Right. You have to deliver on that.
Sure.
And our financial donors, they trust us to do the right thing with the financial resources they're providing.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned getting your food from food distributors, restaurant supply chains, Darden's, etc., major grocery stores. What about farmers? Do they get involved?
Farmers are getting incredibly involved. There's just, we're in an agricultural state, and I think over 271 commodities are grown here, and they're starting to donate, and in giant quantities, truckload quantities. One local farmer in our area, we saw that all these cucumbers coming out of the field and going into trucks, and then we saw a conveyor belt going another direction. And we said, hey, where are all these thousands of cucumbers going? He says, we have to dump these. And we go, why is that? And he said, well, I have a contract with a pickle company, and they have very specific specifications, on the size of the pickle and the shape and everything, and those don't meet specs. So we said, what do you do with those? He goes, we have to dump those. We have to throw those out. And we said, wow,
and we're talking thousands of pounds of almost perfectly good cucumbers.
We're talking tons.
Tons.
Okay? So imagine you see a tractor trailer on the road, right?
Sure.
That will hold about 40,000 pounds. That's 20 tons of food. So we are getting, through the course of the year, from farmers only, about 8 to 10 million pounds of fresh fruits and vegetables, that does not go to market. So it's a real win-win. They get it out of their field, and we get to feed people that
feed the hungry. All right.
Exactly.
I want you to stay right where you are. We want to continue this conversation. When we come back, we're going to tell you what Second Harvest of Florida is doing to feed people right here in Tampa Bay. Stay with us.